Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another tutorial. This one is about proxy editing, and for those who don't know what that is, basically it's a way of... Some computers struggle when you're editing 4K or even 1080p for that matter. My computer doesn't go too bad, but when I do have a lot of effects, dissolves and really long sequences, the computer does tend to struggle a little bit, and that's because they're 4K files. They are massive file size, they are big resolution, so proxies are basically a way of making a copy of those files in a much smaller resolution and much smaller file size. You use those to edit with, and then when you render out, it does render out the full resolution, 4K or whatever it is. You can do this whether you shoot in 1080p, 4K, it doesn't really matter. It just shrinks the file size and the resolution, so you can edit a lot easier without lag and things like that. So it's very, very helpful. It's helped me out a whole ton because, yeah, like I said, this computer does struggle sometimes with 4K. So if you're starting a new project, you just open Premiere for instance, you're starting a new project, this is what it looks like, as you've probably seen before. Now, as long as all this stuff looks okay to you, what you're looking for is ingest settings. Ingest is basically what Premiere call their proxies. So I'm going to tick this, ingest, we're going to go to create proxies. And what I like to use is the 1024 by 540 H.264. And it's going to ask where you want to save the proxies. You can do same as project, or you can save them wherever you like. I usually just keep them with the project. It'll just be next to the file. And the file name usually has proxy written in it, so you know that's the proxy. That's about it. So normally here we'd press OK. I've already done this, so this is my project, it's already set up. One thing I just want to quickly show you is to make sure proxies are working and turned on. We're going to go to Edit, Preferences, Media. And then in here, make sure you're on media. We want to make sure that enable proxies is ticked there. That's about it. Another thing you'll see here on my little preview window, toggle proxies. I have a little button there for toggle proxies. So to get that there, we're going to press the plus icon here and then drag this icon here onto our little toolbar. I can't click it at the moment because I don't have any media loaded, but what you'll notice is once we load our media in, so let's load these two clips, you'll see one is 538 meg, the other is 275 megabytes. So let's drag those in. And once we drag those in, if Adobe Media Encoder isn't already open on your computer, it will start to open. And what it will do is add these files. These are ones I did earlier, so ignore those. It'll load these files into Adobe Media Encoder and it will automatically create those proxy files for you. So you don't need to do anything, which is fantastic. So they'll start to render out and we'll come back when those are finished. So the first one's about halfway done. One thing I should note is that you can continue editing while this is happening, because usually what I'll do is just drag clips into my project, chuck them on my timeline, start cutting away, editing, and once the proxy is ready, it'll just replace that with the proxy. So yeah, so you can continue editing while this is happening, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just showing you what it looks like when the media encoder is rendering out those proxies. So wait for that to finish and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so our second one there is pretty much finished. It'll say done in a second. There we go, done. So now if we go to where our files are, you'll see that there's a file named exactly the same thing, but underscore proxy. You'll see that it's 59 megabytes as opposed to 538, and the other one's 30 megabytes as opposed to 275. So, you know, nearly 10% of the size is what the proxies become, which again makes it so much easier for your computer to handle. And not only that, the resolution's much smaller too, so watching your previews back in Premiere is much nicer. So let's drag these in. Oops, drag these in. These are now proxies automatically. You don't need to drag the proxies in. You don't need to drag these into your timeline and use them. It automatically knows they're there and will automatically use those, which is fantastic. So just mute that track just so you can see it. Now, as you can see, the toggle proxies, that's blue, so it's turned on. And you'll see these black bars on the side. You don't have to worry about them. You can ignore them because the original video won't have those. It's just there because the ratio that the aspect ratio we've rendered our proxies out into is that size. So we have those black bars, but don't worry about that. As I said, once you render out, you will get the full aspect ratio of 4K or 1080, whatever you're using. So let's just play this back. You'll see it took a moment to start playing there. And what I'll do, because usually this computer struggles sometimes when I'm recording my screen, I've got a lot of things going on, so it'll probably struggle. If I put a cross dissolve in between two clips, I find a lot of the time it struggles to play that through. As you can see, massive lag there. It's just, yeah, dropping frames everywhere. So, I mean, I am on full resolution. Maybe if I went to 1/8 or something like that, it wouldn't happen, but I know from experience that it still does on this computer. So we're going to toggle our proxies on, and now it's going to be using those small files that we made. So let's see the difference. And there we go, it played back with no lag whatsoever. The little shake you saw was actually from the camera. It's on a gimbal, so that's what happened. And yeah, that's basically it. So when you render out your video, as I said, it will render out the full 4K, 1080p, whatever it is that you choose. But yeah, just ignore these black bars because, like I said, your original footage doesn't have those. And yeah, that's about all. So I hope you enjoyed. It's very, very easy to do. It's going to help you a ton. It's going to save you a lot of time. You know, when computers lag and crash and all that, it's nothing more annoying than that when you're trying to edit a video and you can't time things properly because it's lagging and things like that. So yeah, this is a massive help. It's been a huge help for me. I edit a lot of stuff in 4K, so I always use proxies. Even when I'm editing 1080p, I still use proxies because it just helps to, you know, it speeds up the workflow massively. So again, I hope this helped. If this video did help you, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will have more tutorial reviews and things like that coming up in the future. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.